Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's Thursday after two quick and fast games for Johns Hopkins. I'm Patrick Russell, class of '89, here for volume 2 of the We Want More Vodcast.
Winds up, takes scores another one for Hopkins.
The test was just calling for a hit there. Shot to goal right out in front. The Blue Jays
does not wear a brace. Never has shown any adverse effects. Harrison with it. Big shot. Scores! Kyle Harrison goes high. That's it. It's over. Johns Hopkins has won its ninth national championship.
Pete, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So, Pete, quick games back-to-back on a Saturday and a Tuesday. We welcome Denver and Towson University. And tell us, what you see in these first two games very quickly and what you liked, what you didn't like.
Sure. It was exciting to finally get out there and get this thing started. Had a great day on Saturday afternoon, beautiful weather, lots of alums, good atmosphere for, an early game, early February game. Things seem to be moving in the right direction for the most part. We started to fall off the rails a little bit in the fourth quarter there. Took a bunch of bad penalties, put ourselves in a tough spot, and very opportunistic, very well coached and determined Denver team found a way to get what they needed at the end, and it cost us. So I think there was a lot of learning in that one, but we come away with that with the right mindset. I think it helps us moving forward. I think if we linger on it too much, it can be a thorn. But I think the guys understood it. It humbled us, I think, appropriately, and really opened our eyes that everybody's going to come after us, no matter where they're from or what the history of the program is. They're going to come after us as hard as they can, and we need to be smarter about where we're putting our efforts. So, yeah. It was a tough loss, but I think it hopefully serves us in the right way.
Yeah. Beautiful day, new turf on February-like weather, a lot of alums, a lot of fans were in attendance for a great game. And it's interesting. It was almost a playoff-like atmosphere. It's game one, but that fourth quarter felt like you're in the quarterfinals or the semis of an NCAA playoff game. Agreed?
Yeah, I wouldn't argue that. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest takeaways is that we got as many end of game scenarios as you could possibly, put into a fourth quarter. And we got them first game of the season. And I think a lot of it comes from, the intensity. There may not be a long-standing rivalry or tradition between the two teams. We've scrimmaged them the last few years, but they got a phenomenal coaching staff. It was Coach Matt Brown's first game as a head coach, and that was a big one for those guys to be on Homewood for that first one. Coach Metzbauer's been coaching for a long time. He's got 6 or 7 championship rings. I mean, he's as accomplished as anybody in the sport. That's a new addition to their sideline. Like, there was just a great intensity, in the game, and I think it was felt pretty quickly, and it was one that really impacted, I think, how the game went down the stretch, because there was a lot of emotion and there was a lot of energy around it, and that's where I think we need to learn how to channel it the right way.
Sure. And if we peel back the onion a little bit, just quick question: what did you learn? Number one, what did you learn defensively about that game that you need to tweak or you would have changed?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, the probably the most important takeaway is we got to stay out of the penalty box,
right?
Because we were playing pretty well, and then we started taking a few penalties. It began with the end of the third quarter, where we had like a 30-second possession, and we were just trying to hold it for the last shot, and we make a sloppy exchange, we lose focus, and then we end up fouling as the time expires. So instead of getting the last shot in the third quarter, we turn the ball over and start the fourth quarter man down, and then it just kind of went from there. And so I think the style and the system that Coach K teaches really requires those guys to have maximum focus on what we're doing, because they have to be on the same page. It's a pretty aggressive way to play. They're trying to push out. They're trying to challenge an offense to find the right seam, to find the right opening, and when it's not there, they run themselves into trouble. And sometimes it just, if that timing's a little off, it gives the other team a few openings that we don't want to give. And, more importantly, we just need to stay disciplined and control our emotions.
Right. Understood. And then on the offensive end, if you have any thoughts on the offensive end, I know EMO, I think, went 0 for 3. I know that Coach Kelly, the minute he walked off that field, was breaking down film, and he's in his video room. What did you see on your man up offensively that you might need to change, or what went wrong?
I offensively found a little bit of a rhythm in the first half, which I thought was pretty good. I thought the second half, partly because we weren't having a ton of possessions when we were, on man down, or we were having to kill some clock. We need a little bit more experience how to play a longer shot clock, but not just sit on the ball. We need to keep working, just be a bit more disciplined in the shot selection. The man up went over 3. 2 of those man ups we scored on the ensuing possession as soon as the penalty released. So I thought some of that, where there was a value in being patient and making sure we're not taking that shot with 29 seconds left. Or excuse me, when the
Right.
1 second left in the penalty clock, because at the end of the day they release it, we still have 30 more seconds of offense. So truth be told, we need to be a little bit more efficient in how we're moving the ball and continuing to handle those situations down the stretch. I think it would have been a little better for us in man up if we would have found one. But I think we had a couple opportunities in the fourth quarter. We could have probably played a little bit sharper and a little bit smarter, and those turnovers cost us. But like I said, game one and a lot of learning.
Right. Well, as I said, it had a playoff type atmosphere in that fourth quarter. You hope that serves you well later on in the season, right?
I think
really,
it will. I mean, that's the hope. If you're not learning from it, it's a loss. If you are, then it serves you right. And I think, not that there's a silver lining to it, but maybe we wouldn't have had the same perspective looking back at it if we would have found a way to pull out that win. So it sticks a little bit harder. That you came away with a loss, and I think as soon as we hit the locker room, it was about taking ownership and accepting that we made mistakes, and you need to sit in your your bad feelings for a few minutes and let it let it wash over you, and use that to motivate you going forward. And I think it I trust this group. I trust this group and how they respond to things.
Yeah. Pete, with this podcast, we really like to sort of go as much as we can behind the scenes with Hopkins Lacrosse. So one thing I'd like to note, I understand, your captains took some time to speak to the team alone about, hey, this is how we're going to move forward. Correct?
Yeah. There's no doubt. I mean, we always meet as a staff.
They took ownership.
Yeah, right away. We always meet as a staff before we head into the locker room and just kind of collect our thoughts as a group, and then we go meet with the team. And I opened the door to the locker room, and the captains were up front and asked for a couple more minutes. So I closed the door and gave them a couple more minutes. And I think from a coaching staff, when you have guys that want that and are always looking for that role, that's a big piece of the puzzle. Whether it's always spot on, the right message, or this and that. I mean, they're still young guys and they're sorting it out, and we're older and we've been doing this longer, but we're not going to ever have the same connection that the guys that play in the same on the same team are. We're working to be educators and to be coaches, but if they want to handle things themselves, like, I'd rather steer that than tell them from my perspective what's right and wrong.
If there are many things to love about this team, the leadership, the senior and graduate student leadership is definitely one of them. So we moved 3 days later to Towson, and a great rivalry. We talked in the previous podcast about the fact that Towson is a rivalry. You go up Charles Street to Loyola, you go further up, and there's Towson. I think it was the 50th game that we played. I know a lot of my friends who played at Towson wish that this was a Saturday night game. But, with the way scheduling works now, we got it in. Tell us a little bit about the Towson game. A little bit of a slow start, but we really started to find our momentum, correct?
Yeah, I think there was maybe some similarities from the way we entered that game from how we came out on Saturday. And I don't think that's, completely unexpected. We need to keep working through things and settle in. Defense was a little off, in their timing in the first quarter. We gave up a few goals in the first few possessions, but once they settled in, a couple of adjustments from Coach K, I think we really started to play some great defense and slow down their productivity. But It's a great rivalry. It's it's a tough group coached by a Blue Jay. He knows the program, he knows the rivalry, he knows what it's like to play on Homewood. Those guys come in confident, they play tough. They're fundamental and physical, and you have to have your team prepared for that because
Right.
regardless of what their record is or ours or who they play and whatnot, they're coming after us as hard as they can. This is a big game circled on their schedule as well. So guys need to be dialed in for those ground ball battles and things like that.
Yeah. Shout out to the defense, I think, for this game because I know we led in ground balls significantly, and our best offense sometimes was our defense in transition. It seemed like, as you watch it, we're getting the ball upfield. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. It was I won't say an even first half, but we had our opportunities, didn't cash in a ton. I think it was 6-4 at halftime. But I would say it started with Logan on the faceoffs. He was digging out some really great ground balls, and they were not clean wins, but I think those are the ones that really value up for the team is when they see it, taking some lumps and really running through some traffic and digging out a tough one, getting it to the offense. But the defense was creating some of those opportunities on their end as well. And once we started getting that ball in transition, find some opportunities, and I think that was one of the messages to the guys. Like when we can find that pace, it's tough for people to keep up with it. We just need to make sure we're clean and we're not getting reckless.
Right. Speaking of Logan, quickly, he seems to be taking most of the faceoffs. Seems like
Mm-hmm.
he did well against Towson.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in previous seasons you may have had a 2 or 3 man team faceoff unit,
Mm-hmm.
but he's doing well. Who
Yeah,
who will back Logan up, or come in?
Tyler Dunn is the number
Right.
2 right now. I think we have a few other options. You're right. In the past, we've kind of gone with like 2 or 3 guys and rotated or mix and matched, and I think that's still in the cards. I just think Logan's kind of settling in as our go-to guy right now, and he's providing us what we need there, and sometimes that's not the first clamp off the whistle. Sometimes that's the counter because the other guy beats you off the whistle, and sometimes it's not necessarily the clamp or the face off or the counter. It's just the ground ball play afterwards, and being smart and spilling that ball out to the teammates and getting it to our offense. We stat offensive efficiency, not just face-off wins. And so,
Right.
At the end of the day, whatever those draws turn out to be, if we get the ball on offense, or they win it and we turn it over and get it back, if we throw it out of bounds before we get it to our offense after we win it, we're just trying to level those out so that it's realistic in how we how we find the result.
Great. So following up from those 2 games, as much as we would want to highlight, every player and their significant contributions, I need to bring up Jacob Angelus and Hunter Chevette. Both had great games. Tell us a little bit about their play. I'm a Angel fan because when I watch him in person, his head is always on a pivot. I think you're his coach, but he's kind of a feed first, shoot second guy. And Hunter has come on with 2 strong games. Tell us a little bit about, Angel and Hunter in their first 2 games.
Yeah, I mean your assessment's pretty good of Angel. He's starting to get a little more aggressive to look for his own shot first before
Right.
he just steps back and he's trying to make sure that they respect him. I think he's doing a good job of that. But he's a big piece. He's very patient with the ball. He makes good decisions. He's quick and he's tough to stay with. So he really helps us a ton the way he plays back there. Hunter Chevette's different. He is a shoot first guy. He is not necessarily looking to feed the ball. And I don't think there's any surprises. I'm not giving him any scouting reports there, but he's got a great release. He can vary it pretty well. He gets it off quick and he's looking for net. So if he has his hands free, he's
Right.
looking for net. And
Right.
and I think it's exciting to see. He's got 2 hat tricks in 2 career games,
Yeah.
playing on the second midfield. So I think that's
Fun to watch.
yeah, I think that's a pretty good start for him so far. But just got to keep him humble and keep him focused on the right things and keep growing because he's going to have a lot of challenges. People are going to start throwing the kitchen sink at him, and we got to keep working him to make sure he sees the game in stride.
Right. Well, the old song, anything you can do, I can do better. It seemed like a fun part of this game was you got to give props where props are deserved. JJ Stillstrop had a great game for Denver, but it was almost kind of like, well, Hunter's like, well, JJ, if you can shoot like that, I can shoot like that too. It seemed like the kind of shots that they had. And he's
Yeah, there's some similarities, I guess.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like watching.
Silstrip had a heck of a game. I mean,
Yeah,
he really made some incredible plays.
Hunter is like watching a pro golfer on the tee and seeing a beautiful swing. So, all right, well,
It's got a
Coach,
good reason.
look, in the interest of time, you have Georgetown coming up this weekend at Georgetown. Georgetown, I think, came off a loss to Loyola, but Georgetown is Georgetown, well coached, well disciplined team. We'll call this sort of another beltway battle, if you will, but the battle of two different beltways. The one thing I'd like to do to wrap up is starting the season, as we always do, we had the smoker, the annual smoker for Johns Hopkins alumni. It was held Friday before the Denver game. I think we had a tremendous turnout. For all the ones that I've been to, it seemed like a pretty big number, maybe about 130 guys, some coming out of the woodwork for first time in many years. What was your thoughts about the smoker?
That was so cool. I mean, it's my second time ever being a part of it. Last year was just an amazing experience to get the first look at it. Really, trying to beat the bushes and get everybody we can to it, just because it's such a great day to celebrate the program and history. It is enjoyable to be around guys like that and see some of the special players that have ever been here and the people that have really contributed to this program. There's former team managers and stats and former athletic director Tom Calder. Like there's a ton of guys. Kyle Harrison, Tuarton winner, a bunch of multiple time All-Americans, the national championships. It's kind of fun hearing the guys maybe kind of jaw back and forth at trying to one up each other and things like that. I mean, it's a healthy banter, but it's all really a great experience.
In addition to the review of games in this vodcast, we also want to take people a little bit behind the scenes about what makes Hopkins special, what makes it special for recruits, what makes it special for alums and fans. So we wanted to talk about that. One of the speakers was Emmett McGee. I believe Emmett's class of 81 or 82. But his speech was very impactful because Emmett was not a Hall of Famer, not a first team All-American, but he spoke from the heart about what it means to be a Blue Jay. And I think that was very impactful to the players.
Yeah, I was really excited about it. I talked to him briefly beforehand just to get a sense of, what he was planning to talk about. He had some questions about what, kind of themes we're working on here, but I just trusted where he was coming from, and it was from the heart. It was, speaking about his passion for his experience at Homewood and being a Blue Jay and how much he, got from his teammates and what that meant to him to be a part of this program. And I think that really resonates with the guys when they hear, those stories, and they're so sincere, and how they impact life after college and after lacrosse. And I think it was just a great thing for our guys to be a part of.
Outstanding. Our MC was Brian Carcaterra, the great goalie from Hopkins, who's always full of energy and spirit. And we also handed out an award, which we're going to start as a new tradition at Hopkins, the Jerome D. Schneidman Award. Many folks may know Jerry as a former All-American, two-time first-team All-American. Many consider the godfather of the face-off, although he used a wooden stick back in the day. And Jerry was a long-time administrator at Hopkins. So we created the Jerome D. Schneidman Award for community service, lacrosse alums who do something outstanding in their community. And we awarded it to Brian Lucas, who was captain of the 92 team, had 2 tours of duty in Iraq. And we presented it to Brian. And I thought that was pretty special as well. There is a rich military history to Hopkins lacrosse. And I think a lot of folks have learned that over the time.
Yeah, I thought it was, it's a phenomenal award recognizing an alum, the Jerome Schneidman Distinguished Alumni Award, for their impact in their community, the people around them, the sport of lacrosse, whatever it is, just really representing the themes and the character of this program in a really special way. And Brian's work with Shelter to Soldier is a really profound organization and what they do. And I really just love the idea that they're solving kind of two of the world's problems at once.
Right.
PTSD from the military and shelter animals that need some support and some homes. And so, really proud of him. He's done a lot for our program. He was a big part of getting that military wall installation downstairs, right by the locker room. He was a helicopter pilot in the Marines, just a great Blue Jay, and the way he represents. So really proud of him.
Outstanding. And one last item, one of your players, one of your captains, we noted that yesterday, Ian Cramp, captain of the 23 team, St. Mary Saint from Annapolis, graduated from officer training school, I believe. I want to talk a little bit about Ian, because there is a connection to Ian and the flags, right, that we put on the back of the goals.
Yeah, Ian's a special guy. Just a phenomenal teammate, one of the best I've coached. He was commissioned yesterday as second lieutenant in the U.S. Army. Graduated as the honor graduate of his class, which I think is a really distinguished honor. Phenomenal young man. He was the young man that before every game would put the flags on the goals. I mean, the preseason, the first game of the season, the captains will do that in the ceremony. But since we built the wall downstairs and it's got the case for the flags, we put the flags back in after every game. And so Ian was responsible for 2 hours before every home game, going out and putting the flags back on. It was an honor that he really took to heart. He was really passionate about it because of his desire to go and serve the country. And so he really wanted to make sure that was done the right way. And I thought it set a great standard for us. So we're proud of Ian and his, just getting started in his military career. I have no doubt of his success. He's going to make us all very proud.
Great. Well, as I said, there's a tremendous military history to Blue Jay lacrosse. It was great to honor Brian, also see the graduation of Ian yesterday. Pete, thank you for your time. We wish you all the best against Georgetown. We'll be back next week for Volume 3, and good luck, Blue Jays. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and congratulations on your induction into the Loyola Blakefield Hall of Fame. I think that's a great honor from your home right up the street, but I just saw that the other day and wanted to make sure that we gave you recognition for that as well.
I humbly will say, since this is a lacrosse podcast, I was a better runner than I was a lacrosse player at Loyola, but thank you very much for the accolades.
Good. Well, congratulations, and thanks for doing this for us, and we'll see you next week.